Welcome back to the Green Line Gazette, episode 9, one day after episode 8. We're talking NBA playoffs today, specifically the Knicks and Hawks series, Celtics 76ers. It should be a good one. Remember, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, YouTube, and Substack. More importantly, I'm joined here today by good friend and roommate. We're about probably like 5 feet away from each other in another room. Liam Hayes. Liam, how you doing, man?
Good, Luke. Thanks for having me on the pod. I absolutely love this time of year. I love the NBA playoffs. I'm psyched to be on the show.
Absolutely. And you give the people a little background where you're going to be coming in from here.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Albany, New York. Growing up, I've always been a big hoops guy. I love the New York Knicks, but for the podcast, I'll keep my biases out of it. And I'm a junior like Luke at BC, and I'm just like to be on the show.
Hey, you can bring those biases. I'm bringing mine. So I mean, don't be afraid to shy away here at all, because I'm bringing my opinions. I'm highly opinionated, especially when it comes to the Knicks. All right, so we're gonna start here, get right into it. So Knicks facing off with the Hawks, right? The 4 and the 5 seeds, Eastern Conference going at it. Knicks haven't won the big one since 1973. That was, let's see. Was that 58 years ago? Can somebody double check that for me? Do you know the number? Maybe 52, 53.
It was 1973. So yeah, since my dad was a little kid, it's been a very long time.
Yeah, I think my dad was 5 years old in 73. So you guys are looking to do the big one. But where does it start? I mean, right, obviously round one, you guys have had problems with the Hawks in the past, right, with Trae Young. But, I mean, it should be noted this is an entirely different team. Obviously, no more Trae Young to haunt you guys at MSG. But where does it start for the Knicks round one?
I think this is a very tough matchup for the Knicks, but they have no one to blame but themselves. They had a lot of bad losses in the regular season that they should have been a 2 seed at least, but the hand they're dealt is the Hawks, and it's going to be very tough. The Hawks have been really, really good without Trae Young. I saw that they were 2-8 with Trae Young this year. So
Yeah.
I don't have their exact record up right now, but whatever the math is, so they would be 44-38 without
Trae Young. I feel that's pretty for like your franchise player, your supposed franchise player. I feel like that's a big loss to have to do as well as they did,
Yeah, I can't really think of another time where we're trading an all-star in his prime years like this worked out so well. But yeah, they play great defense. And I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I think the keys for the Knicks are going to be keep it slow. I think if everything goes according to game plan, we could hold the Hawks to some really low numbers. They don't have a lot of playoff experience, and I think in half court sets their shot creation could really struggle. I'm expecting a lot from the Knicks on the offensive end too. Funny enough, I'm on a lot of Knicks social media pages, and the Brunson Towns pick and roll has been anticipated for a while. Everyone's been saying let's get more of it. And funny enough, it was against the Hawks a few weeks ago where they really started to just do it over and over again, and they seem to have a lot of chemistry that night at least. So I think if they can. If Brunson and Towns can have big series, it should be all Knicks. I think it certainly won't be a sweep. I would say probably Knicks in 6.
Yeah, I think it'll keep it close. I mean, Brunson's around 26 points per game right now, I believe. And then I'm pretty sure I saw it the other day. Cat has 56 double-doubles this season, which is obviously leading the league. And then you have Bridges and Obi, Hart went off against the Celtics, last week or a week and a half ago, whatever Thursday that was. So, I mean, yeah, it's it's kind of interesting. I mean, you watch more Knicks than me, but is this not something they do? This pick and roll, like 2-man game stuff in their half court sets? Is this something they've like strayed away from?
Yeah, it seemed like at the beginning of um of 2 years ago when Tibbs was still the coach, they kind of did it and then they strayed away. And it was kind of the same thing this year. But I think finally Mike Brown just put the emphasis and was like this is our bread and butter. And I saw a really, I forget who posted it, but it was a really good breakdown. It just saying like how Cat can kind of read the big in the pick and roll, and it makes it very hard to guard because you need to go with Brunson when he comes off the screen. So it just lets Cat read, should I go out for the pop or should I roll? And it is really hard to guard. So I think it could give teams a lot of trouble.
And you have to respect Cat too, like on the arc. Like he will,
Yeah.
he will let it fly. So if you don't read that properly, or you think you can kind of sag off and give that cushion on Brunson, and you leave Cat wide open, I think if you're the Hawks, you're going to have a very tough series. But I mean, you alluded to it before, but I watched a little film from both teams today. Knicks, like you're right, a lot slower, especially in those half court sets, slowing the game down. From what I saw from Atlanta, it's very fast paced, transition basketball. So it's like these two opposing styles of basketball clashing. And I think the Knicks are going to prevail just because I think they're the stronger team here. But I mean, it really could go, either way. Whatever, one of the teams is going to have to establish how the game is going to happen, right? Because if the Knicks can really get in control and say, all right, like this is going to be a slowed game, like there's going to be no transition, we're getting back on D. I think the Hawks are kind of, out of luck, to be frank.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Pacers series last year, where in game one, I think the score the score like going into overtime was in the 130s. And that's like, even though it was like a crazy shot by Halliburton, like that's not the Knicks formula. And a lot of those Celtics games, it was low scoring, like slow pace games. And I think that's where the Knicks can really thrive.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then those Celtics games too, because that was the six games, correct? If I'm
yeah, yeah.
recalling that correctly, yeah, 4-2. Three of the Celtics' lowest scoring point per possession games that season came from 3 games against the Knicks in that series, because the Knicks were able to control the style of basketball being played on the court. And even for a great team, like as high powered as the Celtics were last year, they struggled so much like throughout that series. It was really night and day. So if they can do that to the Knicks, like I said, I think the Knicks are really gonna have problems finding, like a new identity if they can't, play this pushing fast break transition game.
Um, yeah, we'll have plenty of time to talk about Knicks Celtics. I guess maybe some closing thoughts before we move on to a new series would be I think the Knicks bench is going to be really interesting to see because I just don't know where Mike Brown's going to go with the rotation. So right now you have the classic starting five, and he's kind of said that the four off the bench will be Clarkson, Shamit, Deuce McBride, and Robinson. And I agree with that decision, but it's just going to be tough because McBride, I think, would certainly be the go-to guard off the bench, but he missed like over 2 months with something in his abdomen, I think, which was a shame because he was having a career year,
Yeah,
top
absolutely.
10 in 3-point percentage, and attempting a lot per game. So hopefully he had a good season finale against the Hornets. So if he can, that's going to be something I'm watching is how McBride plays and how Shamit plays too. Because Shamit, kind of similar, was lighting it up the first few months of the season, first month or so, and then he hurt his shoulder. Yeah, out for like 2 months and hasn't been as sharp as he was. So I think the Knicks bench is something that puts this team ahead of the team last year. And I want to see who Mike Brown plays. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, and then so just a couple stats here to what we're talking about. So like the NBA's pace per possession stat, I'm not really sure. It's some advanced metric, but it just basically tells you how fast teams like to play. Hawks are fifth in the league. Knicks are 25th, right? So that just goes to exactly what we were saying. Like this is like a yin and yang. Like this is going to be a very very interesting series to watch, especially like if I don't know how the Hawks will fare if they can't push the ball. But it also should be noted. So the Hawks net rating before the All-Star break, just like, net is just general efficiency, whatnot, was minus 1.3. After the break, it is now plus 9.7. And that is the biggest swing by any team in the NBA in 27 years, which is mental to think about, especially with what you talked about, how when was the last time somebody traded an all-star franchise piece and like Trae Young and then had the biggest swing in net rating in 27 years? Like this Hawks team is very interesting. I can't decide if I think they're horrible and I think the Knicks are going to like stomp them, or if this is going to be like a more competitive series. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the Knicks. I got to give the Hawks some credit. Especially Nickeil Alexander-Walker has turned into like quite the sharpshooter against that Knicks game I was talking about a few weeks ago. He had like 8 threes, like 8 of 11 from three. Um, CJ McCollum is just like he's just such a reliable veteran. I think he's going to provide a lot just having a veteran presence. And of course, I mean Jalen Johnson leads him in most
Yeah.
of the major. I think in all three major categories. So yeah. I mean he's the head of the snake. They're a really skilled team. I think. Um,
He is. Yeah, he's leading in points. Yeah, points, rebounds, and assists. That is correct.
the Dyson Daniels versus Brunson matchup is always very interesting too. It seems like it's a it could go either way, but each game it's like one guy will clearly get the upper hand. So that'll be really fun too.
Yeah, and it also should be noted this year, Knicks are 30-10 at MSG. So very real home court advantage there. And then you add on top of that playoffs in New York, that just amplifies it by, 10x or whatever it's going to be. So it's crucial. I think Knicks have to take care of business at home. Playing in Atlanta, not the hardest thing in the league, but they still do have a good atmosphere. But I don't think this, especially like you said, this Knicks or sorry, this Hawks team is very young, with not a lot of playoff experience. So coming into a place like MSG during the playoffs in a year where there's high expectations for the Knicks, it's going to be a very rowdy crowd, very loud. I just don't think the Hawks are going to fare. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Knicks in 5 here. That's what I'm taking. And did you say 5 or 6 as well?
I'm gonna go Knicks in 6. I think it'll take a little bit for the Knicks to wake up, but once they do, they'll take control.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna move on here. Celtics 76ers. Classic rivalry. A really storied one, although this will have, a big asterisk on it. I think what makes this rivalry so fun in recent years is the Tatum Brown, the Boston versus Philly with Embiid, but now Embiid out indefinitely with his appendicitis. We were talking about this before the show. Neither of us know what that is. I'm sure a quick Google search would help us, but whatever that is, it sounds like he's not coming back, which is kind of a shame. I mean, definitely makes it easier for the Celtics, but it's always just fun, right, Liam, to watch like players of that caliber go head to head and in a rivalry that is as hated as Philly Boston, right?
Yeah, I don't know how competitive the Sixers can be without Embiid. I think their backup bigs can do a excuse me, a good job defensively. Like that guy Bona. Bona just, he plays
Yeah.
his role and will rebound. Kind of same thing with Drummond. So I don't really think they fall off that much defensively, but it puts a lot of pressure on Maxey and Edgecombe to create their own shots on the other end.
Yeah, and so this year, they played 4 games, 3 of them between, about a 20-day stretch in October to November, and then 1 in March. They split the series 2-2. It's just I'm interested to see how this plays out, Liam, because nothing we saw in the regular season is going to be anything like we saw or that we will see now, because the 4 matchups in the regular season had Tatum out in all 4. Now we go into a playoff series where Embiid will be out for the entire series. So I don't think we can expect as close of a battle, right? I think that's pretty obvious. I don't think that's a crazy take there. But I think you're right. It's gonna land on Edgecombe and Maxey to really, come out and have their chance to be their guy. But Maxey finished the season, his last 2 regular season games, he shot 9 for 51 from the floor, which is obviously abysmal. So if you're a Sixers fan, that is not what you want to see, as as you're trying to rely on these guys going forward.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Maxey. I'll never forget that shot he hit in Game 5 a couple years ago against the Knicks. Yeah, no, he's a hell of a player, but I think there's just gonna be too much attention on him, and Missoula will find a way to put up similar numbers as that.
Yeah, and so Boston is holding teams to 107.2 points a game right now. You obviously take out Embiid and put the spotlight on these 2 very young players. Boston also holding teams to 52.3% from the floor. I think it's going to be really hard for them. I don't think it's going to be their fault, because if you're in Missoula, you focus all your time, effort, and energy on stopping these 2 guards or these 2 forwards, because you don't have to worry about Embiid, down low in the paint anymore. So it just makes it that much easier for the Celtics too. And they have elite defensive guard play with White, and then Pritchard's been really up in his game this year as well. So yeah, going to be a hard series, no doubt. I mean, I'm sure you think the same.
I'm also curious to see what Missoula's playoff rotation will be. Excuse me, but yeah, I think something he's going to be asking himself is, can he trust Vucevic to play defense for extended periods of time? I think Keita has had like a home run season. I think he's doubled his points, he's doubled his rebounds, and he plays great defense. But Vooch is just like, he's kind of the opposite. He adds so much offensively, but I think he can get exposed, especially in pick and rolls and stuff.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where we go with center there. Obviously, we have Vooch, Garza, who's been playing great as well. I wouldn't be shocked if Garza gets some more runs. He looked really good towards the end of the season when he was getting more floor time. Like you said, Keita, awesome season, especially compared. I don't know how much Neemias Queta you watched of last season, but at times it was very frustrating to bear with. So, but yeah, I mean, the Celtics have a great young core too with Shireman. I'm excited to see how he performs. Jordan Walsh, Hugo Gonzalez. I think you can expect big games from them, especially if the Celtics get out to an early series lead. I think you can expect Missoula to kind of give JB and JT and White maybe some less playing time to keep them healthy and prep for potential Knicks Celtics matchup in the next round. So leaning on those young guys, I think will have no problem. Then of course you got your Sam Hausers. Really excited to see what Shireman does. He went off these last couple of games, so it'll be an interesting rotation. I think, like I said, if they get out to an early series lead, what do you think? I feel like Missoula will probably kind of rest up his guys.
Yeah, and it seems like he can trust the Shiremans and crew to to hold it down.
Yeah, and then also should be noted that, so just per basketballreference.com, great website. If you guys don't poke around on there when you're bored during class, I would definitely recommend. But right now, Boston has 120.82 offensive rating and 112.67 defensive, which gives them a positive 8.15 net rating. Philly's net rating right now is negative zero point 0 or 0.17. So these are two very, very different teams. Without Embiid, I think that net rating just plummets even more than it has. I think it should be a quick and easy one for the Celtics. You really would hope so, especially if we have to face off with the Knicks in the next round. That just makes that. I mean, regardless of what you want to say about the teams, I think the energy surrounding that series at both TD Garden and Madison Square Garden are just going to be absolutely nuts, and it kind of erases whatever like skill gap or play style gap there is, because I feel like it's just an entirely different game.
Yeah, and the thing is, for both the Knicks and the Celtics, it feels like you got to win that series, because if you're the Celtics, it's going to really sting if the Knicks send you home 2 years in a row. Whereas if you're the Knicks, you've got championship aspirations, and if you can't make it to the conference finals this year, it's not looking great down the road. So I think those would really, I mean, for a second round series, I think that'd be pretty much as good as it gets.
Yeah, and especially this is the Knicks all in year, right? The expectations are higher than I think they've ever been, and you said it best. If especially me, I don't want to live in a house with two Knicks fans when if you bounce us 2 years in a row, because I would never hear the end of that here at school. That would be absolutely miserable. So yeah, there's just so much energy around this team, but this Celtics team, despite missing Tatum for a lot of the year, I think the highest projected win total I found was from NBC, and I think it had the Celtics at 45 games. A lot of places like CBS, NBC, ESPN, DraftKings, all the sports books, a lot of them had the Celtics below 500 and missing the playoffs. So what Missoula's been able to do this season is absolutely insane. This is the fourth straight season, Liam, where the Celtics have finished top 2 in offensive efficiency while they, were missing Tatum for that entire year. And then I don't know if you've seen this thing going around called the 150 stat, but there were 4 games this season the Celtics had where they scored more than 150 points per 100 possessions, which is just a common metric they use to measure, offensive efficiency, just how many points can you score per 100 possessions. Kind of explains itself, but they've been tracking this stat for about the past 30 or so seasons. There have only been 14 games total where teams have scored 150 points per 100 possessions, and the Celtics did it 4 times this year, which is absolutely nuts. So I think if the Celtics hit this peak, like this stride, especially with Tatum really getting back into the groove, I mean, I think you're going to think differently, but I think the Celtics really should be the clear favorites here in the East. We'll get into why, maybe not the Pistons, but it's hard for me to not have high hopes this year.
Yeah, I think certainly the Pistons and others have had great years, but I think it really is going to be the Knicks and the Celtics. One of the two will come out of the East.
Yeah, so I guess we could go right into that great leeway. Potential rematch. I mean, we've already talked about it a little, but definitely a bitter taste in our mouth over here in Boston, right? That you get bounced out by probably the team you hate the most, maybe even ahead of Philly. Depends how much you hate New York. And then JT, pops his Achilles in that last game. So a lot of just bad feelings, and you really don't want it to happen twice. It's also you want to. It kind of this feels like maybe like another one of those years where everything just seems to be clicking for the Celtics. Everything seems to be going right. I want to get your take on it, but I was very against Tatum coming back for the long term with his career. I don't think rushing an Achilles injury is worth playing on. I thought it was, I thought you really should give it more time. And I thought when he was going to come back, it was going to be, kind of a shell of his former self. But I think he's really proved a lot of people wrong. I'm still very skeptical though. I mean, what do you think? I
Yeah.
don't like this injury with kind of go 100% back. It's been less than a year,
Yeah, no, I got to admit, I did not think he was going to come back. I thought if he did come back, it would be a disaster, but he's looked pretty good. Especially his jumper. I think maybe like off the dribble, his burst is a little like behind par, but like his jumper looks good, and he's got such a big frame too. So like he doesn't necessarily need to use his speed to get by guys. And with Brown and others playing so well, I think he adds a lot going into this postseason. I think, I mean, the way I was looking at it was I didn't think the Celtics were going to be that much of a threat without him, but now it's like, oh boy, like this is I mean, this is for real. They uh they really are on another level with Tatum.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. But again, you never know. It's at this point, it's, if we get this rematch that we're talking about, I think we're kind of hoping for. I would love to see, us go head to head again. I could really care less if we played the Hawks in round two. It's the Hawks, like whatever. Uh, it's a mental game, right? If you're Boston, you come into this series probably as a favorite. You people, like we said, have very high expectations for you to come out of the East, but that's what it was last year. And the Knicks really, I think, handily took care of the Celtics. So if you're the Celtics, you really got to tune this out because you've already lived this story once and it ended in the worst possible way.
It is kind of similar to last year. We were talking about differences, but it's the 3 and the 2 again. It's everyone's kind of like, oh, the Knicks have underperformed in the regular season, and Celtics. I mean, last year the Celtics were super heavily favored. I think they were in some books like minus 1,000 to beat the Knicks.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
that
was
was
like
crazy.
800 at some point. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. And this is kind of like that. But I gotta feel fairly confident in the Knicks. And the main reason why is Brunson. I think that I can certainly accept the Knicks are a flawed team, but I do not understand the argument that the Knicks can't win it all because of Brunson. Um, I saw this the other day that since Brunson has joined the Knicks, nobody has outscored him in a playoff series, which is quite a list of names. You got Cade Cunningham on that list. You got Brown and Tatum on that list. Um, Even though the Knicks lost, you got Halliburton and Siakam on that list. Maxey and Embiid. He he just really takes his game to another level in the playoffs. 2 years ago, I think he had a stretch where he scored 40 in 4 straight games. He really turns it up in the playoffs. So I think having him, I'm always gonna have confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Brunson hater. You can't. It's hard to argue with stats. I will admit that. I think I think his defense is an issue at times. I remember him getting kind of picked on in the C series last year, especially the games the Celtics won. They were really going at him, trying to get him into foul trouble. But I mean, he's a great player. I also think your problem lies in, like your Mitchell Robinsons of the team, the the guys who have passed this season kind of under the radar because of guys like Cat and Brunson, that all the spotlight's on them. And then once the bright lights are on, everyone's like, wait a minute, like Mitchell Robinson kind of sucks. Like how did nobody like notice this all season? And all of a sudden it kind of blows up in your face. So is there any, can you think of any players on the Knicks that you're a little skeptical about this year? Like if they have to perform that you think they won't be able to?
Um, I'm a little worried about Josh Hart because he has had a career year shooting the three ball. He's 41% from three. It's like unbelievable how well he's been
It's
shooting.
unbelievable.
But he he gets in his head and sometimes he won't take open shots and it just screws up the spacing so much. Like if you're a guard, you have to be able to take and make threes. Um, so that's one of my big concerns. Cat does concern me too on defense. His defense has been better since the All-Star break, but yeah, there were some pretty bad breakdowns last year. And I think honestly, my short answer would be it all comes down to Mike Brown because
Uh-huh.
last year I'm glad you brought up like the Celtics targeting Brunson because Tibbs kind of figured out, all right, they're gonna whoever Brunson is guarding, they're gonna have that person set the screen. So Tibbs kind of figured out a way to like pre-switch that, and it worked really well. I in game four especially, I think that was why they won. But I don't know if Mike Brown has the same kind of skill on
Philosophy.
defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the biggest guy I'm concerned with and who I would point the finger at if the Knicks lose would certainly be Mike Brown.
You sound so. Do you miss Tibbs? You sound a little somber when we talk about
Yeah,
Mike Brown. Do you have a soft spot for him? You wish he stayed, or
I think I sent you that graphic earlier, and it was basically like the Knicks are very similar to last year.
Mhm.
Um, like all their advanced stats are basically the same. So, well, I don't know how to judge Mike Brown yet. I think it's all going to come down to how well he does in the playoffs. If he can find a way to get us to at least to the finals,
Uh-huh.
I think that's a home run by the front office. But as of now, I'm definitely a little skeptical.
Yeah, here. Let me that's a good point about that stat sheet you had. Let me pull that up for people so I can let you talk about it because that is a good point. We should be able to see it right here. So yeah, here we go. I mean, break it down for us. You're like, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so they only won two more games. I guess three if you count the NBA Cup. Little better on offense, a little better on defense. Um, Mike Brown is playing the bench more. I kind of talked about that earlier. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
they are.
35.8 starter minutes per game to around 30 now is a huge. I mean, I feel like that was a lot of the criticism Tibbs got, right? Was that he didn't tap into his bench as much as people thought he should, you know?
Yeah, especially with Shamit, I think it was kind of a mistake to keep Shamit on the bench for, excuse me, for as long as he did. But Shamit's definitely going to get a chance this year. Mike Brown loves Shamit. He started Shamit a few times.
Yeah, I mean, and if you look right here, third column, it's almost everything is in the positive here. Defense took a little hit. The Stars minutes per game. I think that's honestly a good thing that went down. But everything is in the positive here. So it seems that uh, his offense this year is an improvement. I mean, I guess you should probably be commenting on that because you watch almost every Knicks game. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think another one to highlight here is the passes per game. I think sometimes with Tibbs, it would kind of be the Brunson show. The last 2 minutes of the game, let's just watch Brunson do whatever he wants, which I think you can kind of get away with that for a possession or two, but eventually it's very easy
People
to
figure it
anticipate.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that,
Um,
that's a good point. I forgot about the Brunson. Let Brunson run around, and it worked sometimes. Like it did. Well, it wasn't always a bad one, but All right, we're gonna move on just to around the league. I'll bring up the bracket for this year. Obviously, not fully done yet. We have the last two playing games tonight. Suns Warriors, and then the Magic and the Hornets are going to be going at it. But Liam, I thought we could just kind of go through it and then give our predictions. Who and how many games, and maybe a little bit of why. If you want to start, we can start. I guess we'll start. We can start top left because we haven't really talked about the West all that much.
Sure, yeah. So I think the Thunder will take care of business easily. And then especially in the Lakers Rockets with Reeves and Luka gone, I think that'll be all Rockets as well. But the really interesting series, excuse me, was the Nuggets Timberwolves.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it depends, I guess, who comes out of this plan. I think it'll be the Warriors, but Curry's been on, absolute fire, but it is the Thunder, right? You can say what you want about the ref show that the Thunder are, which is definitely true, but I don't think they'll get much resistance from either the Suns or the Warriors. Same with we talked about this before. There's not too much to talk about the Lakers Rockets series here. No Luka, no Reeves. LeBron talks of retirement just came out today. I don't know if you saw those reports that it's being considered. I mean, I feel like we get that report every year, though. So I guess we take that with a grain of salt. But, I'm sure that flying around the locker room isn't helping the poor situation in RDS. But, yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about this Nuggets Timberwolves series, that should be a really good one. Ant, Jokic, facing each other down should be I feel like one of the more entertaining series, just solely because of those two players.
Yeah, I think excuse me, I think the Nuggets will take care of the Wolves pretty easily. The Wolves have got a lot of talent on their team, but their problem is they don't really have a point guard. I think Julius Randle leads the team in assist, which is not really a recipe for winning.
No, yeah. No, you don't want Julius Randle.
They've got great defenders, but I think the Jokic Murray combo is just too experienced.
Yeah, and then Blazers Spurs. I'm obviously taking the Spurs there. Very cool to see what San Antonio's done with Castle and Wemby, just two absolute freaks turning that franchise around. So great to see them back, kind of where they were during the Pop days, right back in that 2 seed. I would love to see the Spurs face off with the Thunder in the conference finals. Those games were absolutely nuts in the regular season this year. I think probably some of the most watched regular season games of the season. If I'm just guessing, but if I had to guess, that makes a lot of sense. So that'll be fun. But I guess we can go through the West here. I'll take probably Thunders in 5. If it's the Warriors, if the Thunders get the Suns, it'll be Thunder in 4 in a sweep. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think the Thunder could have some trouble later on throughout the playoffs, but I think they'll bury whoever in 4.
Yeah, and then I got the Rockets, and because of LeBron, maybe we go Rockets in 6. I think maybe 5. Definitely won't be a sweep. So I'm gonna say I'll say Rockets. Rockets will get through relatively easily in probably 5 to 6 games.
Yeah, I'll go 5 games. I think
5. Yeah.
The Rockets could struggle to score. I think it'll be a low scoring series for sure.
Yeah, and then Nuggets. This might be a 7-game series in my opinion. I could totally see Ant and Jokic battling it out for the full 7 games. I'm going to say Nuggets in 7 here. But that solely because I don't think the Timberwolves have the depth or the right tools to deal with the like the three-headed dragon. I guess that is, the Nuggets' main part of their offense there. But I think this is going to be the most entertaining game in the first round in the East or the West. It's going to go to 7 games, and I think it's gonna be a heartbreaker for the Wolves. You can expect, I would say, a lot of OT games, a lot of very close games. I wouldn't be shocked if there's multiple buzzer beaters, if not, at least one during the series. But I think this series is just absolutely, like a movie. And then Spurs Blazers, right? 4 or 5. I mean, what do you think? I don't think there's much to talk about.
Yeah, I got a lot of confidence in the Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, Spurs, relatively inexperienced young team, but it's the Blazers. Blazers aren't too intimidating, and despite how young the Spurs are, they've just been, playing out of their mind. All right, I guess we're going to move to the East now. Pistons, Magic, or Hornets. Relatively easy to go with the Pistons here, probably in 5 games. If it's the Hornets, I think the Hornets could take 1. If they get the Magic somehow, I don't know if you watch those Magic play-in games, but they were not pretty. Apollo Bencaro just, shot chucking and bricks all over the place. So if they somehow get the Magic, it'll be a clean sweep. If not, I think the Hornets could take 1, maybe if not 2 games if they really get hot. But ultimately, I got Pistons going through.
Yeah, Apollo's been pretty underwhelming this year. And then so I think the Hornets will win tonight, but I don't think they'll give the Pistons any trouble. I saw Schefter today on Get Up say he thinks they can pull off the upset. I think that's a hot one. I think the Pistons are gonna be a lot of trouble. I know I said the Knicks and Celtics are the 2 heavyweights in the conference, but the Pistons can really play. They gave the Knicks an incredibly tough series last year, so they'll win this one easily, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and then right, I think we can assume they get the Hornets. The Hornets, this will end a 10-year drought, a playoff drought for the Hornets. Last time they were there, 2015, 2016, when they were a 6th seed, led by my favorite player of all time, Kemba Walker. So there's definitely going to be a certain energy around the Hornets. It's been 10 years. You have a chance to go on a little Cinderella run here. Definitely possible, maybe against a more inexperienced playoff team like the Pistons. But I don't know if I agree with Shefty. Is that who it was? Was it Schefter that said that? You said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be shocked if if the Hornets can come out. I think they'll be competitive, like I said, 1 to 2 games. But winning this series, I think, is a little too far out of reach. But
I think that game on Tuesday night, Hornets Heat, was phenomenal. That game was a lot of fun, but if they're barely scraping by the Heat, the Pistons are going to give them a lot of trouble.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see how it plays out. I guess we'll go to Cavs Raptors next. I know you wanted to talk about it. You said there's not too much going on here. I guess I feel like these teams meet quite often in the playoffs. You always remember that LeBron, fading one-handed, bank buzzer beater on that weird midi. But I mean, I guess I'll let you lead first because I haven't watched too much, admittedly, of either of these teams this year. So.
Yeah, I'm not huge on either team. Like, I think I really wanted the Knicks to get the Raptors. The Knicks have beaten the Raptors like 13 times in a row or something. So that, I think, would have been a much easier series than the Hawks. In the Cavs, I just don't believe in the Cavs. Like, they had the 61 year last year, but they don't really show up in the postseason. I don't really like the big man combo of Mobley and Allen. Like, Mobley had a breakout year last year, shooting the ball, and his numbers have gone down. So I don't really know if they've gotten better than last year, and I don't see them going very far. I think they got worse than last year, and they only made it to the second round last year.
Yeah, I think well said. I guess I'll go with the Cavs here. I could really see this going either way. Regardless, I think either team loses to the Pistons in the next round. So I don't really think that matters. Unless the Hornets, somehow pull it off in 6 or 7 games, like I really doubt that. But I think either of these teams will probably be handled by the Pistons in like 5 or 6 games, depending on how it goes. Knicks Hawks, we already talked about that, right? I think we both kind of have Knicks in 5 or 6 here, depending how that goes. And then Celtics Sixers, we really could be looking at a sweep here. Again, big shame that Embiid's not playing. I really wish he was. It would have just made it that much more entertaining and added to the saga that is the Sixers Celtics series that's definitely been played out over the last couple of years. But I guess last thing before we go, who are you taking to win it all? I wouldn't be surprised if we both, give it the homer pick here, right? I feel like you're leaning towards your Knicks. Yes.
Yeah, I'll go Knicks, but I'll have some fun with it. I'll go Knicks over the Spurs. I think
All right.
the Spurs have been a powerhouse, and I think they're going to be very tough for the Thunder to knock out. Wemby's playing as well as anyone, and they had so much success in the regular season against them.
Yeah, I'm going to go Celtics, obviously. No shock there, but I don't think the Thunder are going to get it done this year out of the West. I'm really intrigued. I really hope the Nuggets can take care of the Wolves so that the Spurs will face them in that semifinal. I think that'll be a really good game. I think the winner, hopefully, of that game comes out of the West. Obviously I want them to lose to the Celtics, but I love to see the Spurs, especially with Wemby, or I love to see Jokic, try for that second ring. But, hey, should be a good one. Playoffs continue tonight. We have our play-in games, and then what is it? The Knicks are you guys that 6 o'clock Saturday slot? Is that correct?
Yep. So tomorrow we got Cavs Raptors, and then Nuggets Wolves, and then Knicks Hawks.
Yeah, that's right. So games starting at 1. Again, thank you guys for tuning in to episode 9 of the Green Line Gazette. Liam, thank you for making a guest appearance. We appreciate the Knicks talk, the Celtics talk. We love it. NBA playoffs will be fun as always. Remember, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Substack. Please give a listen. Follow us on Instagram at the Green Line Gazette. That's all we have for now. We'll see you back here soon for episode 9. I think we're going to get an exclusive interview with a bird ball player and kind of shop it down with bird ball and a Red Sox, mixed episode. So stay tuned for that. Should be fun. Liam, thank you again. And we will see you guys next